My best friend cheated on her man, so I went and I told him. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I was sending me on Instagram. My bestie's always been she does whatever she wants, whenever she wants. Literally nobody can tell her otherwise. Now, her and I usually get along all the time. My bestie has a bad temper on her. She can be very judgmental, and every time she starts telling me what to do or what I shouldn't do, I would just do it. But about a year ago, I started defending myself and talking back. And she does not like this. If she's this way with me, can you imagine how she's with her man? She controls every single aspect of their relationship. She even tells him when he can go to the gym, who he can be friends with, where he can go by himself. I mean, it's unbelievable that she's been able to retain this man. The problem is that he's just so in love with her. You see, he's like a 7 and she's like a 9. But he's a really good guy and she's taken advantage of that. A little while ago, she pressured me into going on a double date. And the guy she set me up with was a trans man. He didn't even have the decency to tell me when I got there. I was stunned and actually couldn't speak. After the date, my bestie confessed that she had hooked up with this guy. How dare she do that to her man? Started seeing a side of my bestie I don't like. So I took matters into my own hands. Go to part 2. My bestie cheated on her man, so I went and I told him. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I was sending me on Instagram. After she told me that she had been cheating on her boyfriend with that trans guy, the one that she tried to set me up on a date with, I couldn't believe it. So I started questioning her. I asked her when they met, how long they've been seeing each other, and that's when she told me that she's been cheating on her boyfriend for the entirety of their relationship. A week after she became his girlfriend, she started hooking up with the other guy. I told her that she was not right for doing what she was doing. If you're wondering why I'm so upset at her for cheating on her man, let me tell you why. Her boyfriend is completely devoted to her. As soon as he's finished at work, he tries to go see her every single day. He's constantly texting her throughout the day, even calls her at night just to say goodbye. And because he started helping her out with the rent, she's able to live by herself without roommates. He also started paying for her car insurance and her cell phone bill. Even offered to pay for her nails. That's when I told her that what she was doing was and she needed to stop. Then she got up in my face and told me that I needed to stay out of her business. She had never spoken to me like that or even gotten in my face like that before. Something is up with her and I can't put my finger on it. And I told her she was being disrespectful to me and her boyfriend. She almost came at me, but she stopped herself, thank God. I went straight over to her boyfriend's job and told him everything. I don't think it's fair that he needs to be paying for her bills or treating her like a queen while she's running around with another dude. No thank you. And I told him, he started to cry. He asked me if I was 1000% sure and I said yes because she had just confessed it to me. And now I have bigger problems. He went and broke up with her and now my bestie's coming at me. She's getting people to bully me online. She even had her brother follow me for an entire day. When I tried to reach out, she blocked me. She actually broke one of my car windows. What the heck should I do? Did I do wrong? Or was I right?
My cousin tried getting at me. Ready with me? Story time! I hate that I'm saying this story. I cringe so hard thinking of it, but I'm gonna say it. Dude, my cousins and my brothers are probably watching this right now like, who the hell is she talking about? Because nobody knows this story. I'm saying this story for the first time on TikTok, so let's get started. I mainly see this cousin whenever we are on like the other side of the family and there are like bigger events. I think I've only seen this cousin maybe like 3, maybe 5 times max in my entire life. One day I had received a DM. I rarely look at my Instagram like request DMs, but that day I was at work and I was so bored and let me see what my DM requests are all about. And I seen this particular name. Like this last name looks a little bit familiar. Let me see who this person is. So I click on his profile and I noticed that he doesn't have a picture, but I knew that he had to be family because of his last name. And when I clicked on his profile, he had a lot of like the same mutuals. He followed some of my cousins. If I'm not mistaken, he follows like my dad. So I just knew that this guy was family. I went back to the message and I scrolled up because I noticed that this person had sent me more than one message in the past. And he's basically just saying like, hey cousin, hey pri, hey prima, you know, things like that. How are you? Nothing too crazy. Like I honestly didn't think much of it, right? Up until I actually accepted the DM. And because I didn't know which cousin this was, I was like, hey, no disrespect, but which cousin exactly are you? He didn't send me a picture of who he was, but he explained to me and described to me exactly which cousin he was. And so right when he said one detail off the bat, I knew automatically who he was. I've seen this cousin, I want to say maybe like 4 months ago. It was pretty recent that I had seen this cousin. You know what? I was going to keep the detail away from y'all, but if I'm going to say the story, I might as well just give you the full scoop. So basically, he had taken some pictures and videos of me the day me and my family, we all went to another cousin's event. So he had recorded and it was one of those things where like he didn't need to record. And again, I feel like that day him and I properly like introduced ourselves to one another. But he basically asked for my Snapchat because he says that he wanted to send the videos and pictures and it's just better quality if you send it on Snapchat. Honestly, I don't use Snapchat. I would have to install Snapchat in order, you know, to accept your friend request. Let me just do it so I can see these pictures because I wanted to, you know, see what he had recorded. I gave him my Snapchat, he added me, I added him back. When I seen those videos and pictures, I immediately started to critique myself. His cousin was like, no, you look really beautiful. He was like, that day you look gorgeous. In my opinion, I believe there's a difference of hyping your cousin up versus there being that boundary and that line of how you hype up that person. For instance, the way he was hyping me up, I started to get this gut feeling that he wasn't complimenting me because he was my cousin, but more rather because he was interested in me. Let me get into more details on that. That specific day, I didn't have my D&D on only because I was waiting for an important call. I also had my headphones in, and when I have my headphones in, Siri usually notifies me of my notifications. I ended up getting up to go sign in my papers, and I left my phone on the desk, but of course, like I said, I still had my headphone in, and Siri literally was like, you receive a Snapchat from this person, you receive a Snapchat from this person, you receive a Snapchat from this person. Like, it just kept going off and off and off, as if like this person was like sending me 4 or 5 different messages at the same time. I was like, damn, like, jeez. I ended up going back to my desk and I opened the Snapchat, and this cousin is like, hey, what are you doing? How are you? Do you still model? Like, all of this stuff. I feel like this guy knew so much about me and I knew absolutely nothing about this cousin. I continue the conversation with him. I basically tell him I no longer model, but I will occasionally be in music videos. And then he asked me what I do for work, and I told him what I'm doing for work, and he was like, you shouldn't be working there, you're too pretty to be working there, blah 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 blah. And then he just kept saying, you're really beautiful, like, you're so pretty, cousin. Like, it got to the point where he was like over exaggerating it on the compliments. Again, I would understand you as my cousin complimenting me, but you constantly saying, oh my god, you're pretty, can you send me pictures of you, like things like that. I started getting a really bad gut feeling at this point. I felt very uncomfortable. It got to the point where I screenshotted his Instagram profile. I sent his profile to one of my cousins, and my cousin goes, yes, he is our cousin. I also made sure to ask my other cousin how this particular cousin is. My cousin responds back to me and tells me, I rarely talk to this cousin, Ash, but the times that I have spoken to him, he's pretty chill. When he said that, I felt a little bit better. I didn't want to overthink it because, again, he's family and I didn't want to assume or think the worst, especially because I am one of the world's biggest overthinkers. I keep this conversation going. As the night goes, me and this cousin are still texting. Kid you not, the only thing this cousin is focusing on is the fact that I'm no longer modeling and the fact that I'm so pretty and gorgeous. This man was overdoing it on the compliments. Like, dude, he literally said I was gorgeous and beautiful once. There's no need for you to constantly repeat it every conversation that we had. At this point, he's blocked on Snapchat, and I didn't think much to block him on Instagram, especially because we never really followed each other. He just messaged me to message me. A couple days later, I get a notification, and I look at the notification and it says, oh, you got a message from your cousin. So I look at the message and he's blowing me up. He was like, hey Prima, what are you doing? Hey, how are you? What's going on with you? How's work? Like, things like that. To this day, I feel like I'm maybe overthinking this situation, but I also feel like my gut intuition is never wrong, so I should leave him blocked. I grew up with guys my entire life, so I'm very quick to pick up on the way guys think, the way guys say certain things, and I know a lot of things can be misinterpreted on Instagram or on Snapchat or just in text in general, but just the way this guy was saying things and the way he was blowing me up was very bizarre. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but I've actually had cousins from that side of the family mess around with each other because they were interested in one another, and maybe I'm just traumatized, so I'm thinking the absolute worst, but I feel like his actions were definitely out of pocket. Let me know if you've dealt with the same thing, if you've had cousins or family members trying to get at you. Let me know if you think I'm being dramatic or if I'm overthinking it or not, because I don't know.